Hi everybody, it's Mr. Han here. Uh, just creating a video because we're in some unusual times here, and we're not going to be in class for the next couple weeks. And as a result of that, e-learning teachers are also putting a pause on their work and student work in the e-learning courses. So at this time, I'm going to push back all the due dates by 2 weeks, and I'll be providing more information in a couple weeks on what our next steps will look like as we kind of get through the rest of the course. So what I want to do today, though, we were originally going to be looking at for loops this week, and for loops are great for modeling, and they're great for modeling iterative processes. And virus spread is an iterative process. It's exponential growth, and so I was going to use the spread of a virus like COVID-19 as a way to sort of demonstrate how for loops work. So none of the data in this is accurate. It's not scientific. It's not based on COVID-19 necessarily, but I picked reasonable numbers to try to show how you could model the spread of a virus in a computer program. So what I've done is I've created variables for infected, the number of infected people, the people they can transmit to. Okay, the number of days of transmission, how many of those cases will end up in hospital, how many of those will end up at home recovery, and then this other integer for count, which you'll see in a couple minutes here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the user to put in how many people are infected on day one, how many people they will come in contact, and how many people those people will come in contact on average. So this number could be a double, it could be like an average, it could be like 1.2. You wouldn't contact 1.2 people, but maybe on average, a group of people might come in contact with 1.2 new people every day. And then how many days do we want to run the model for? Okay. So the interesting thing here I'm going to use is an array. And we haven't seen arrays before, but arrays are basically like a collection of containers that we can put information into. What I want to do is I want to collect a piece of information every 5 days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the total number of days of transmission, and I'm going to divide it by 5, and I'm going to create that many containers. So if there was 15 days of transmission, I would create 3 containers. Each would hold an integer value. Okay. If there was 30 days, I'd create 6 containers. If I have 12 days, I would only be creating 2 containers because 12 divided by 5 would give me 2. And this can only be an integer value. Okay, the containers can only be integer values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through for every day that the virus is being transmitted. So through my days of transmission, so I'll initialize at day 1. Okay, the days will loop through until they get to the total number of days of transmission, and every day that goes by, I will increase the number of days. What I'm going to do is I'm going to print out a banner saying this is day 1, and I'm going to figure out how many people get infected on day 1. Now, the number of people that get infected will be the infected person and how many people they transmit to, and then add it back to the total number of infected that we started with. Okay, and then I'll output that as well to the screen. The next thing I want to be able to do is figure out how many of these people will end up in a hospital. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through, okay, and for the number of infected people, randomly, I'm going to choose a random number. If it ends up below 0.3, they're going to end up in hospital. If not, they will end up in home recovery. Again, 0.3 is just a number I came up with. It doesn't have any basing in scientific value, but it's just a way to sort of randomize and approximate how many people would end up in hospital and how many people would end up in home recovery. Once that is output to the screen, what I'm going to do before I exit that for loop is I'm going to reset hospital case to 0 and home recovery to 0. Now, every 5 days, what I want to do is capture how many people have been infected. Okay, and then every 5 days beyond that, I want to subtract those people. I want to assume that every 5 days, people are going to be getting better, and they won't be counted in my infected amount. At the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out how many people were infected at the end of the transmission time, and how many people ended up in hospital at the end.